Episode 62. Maybe it's 63. 476ers podcast. You know what we're going to talk about. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Justice for the blind. Just something that'll find in the rhyme that are coming from my
Good morning,
mind.
good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 62. Might be 63 of the 476ers podcast. It's your boy Brian. As you can tell, I am sick again. COVID doesn't quit. It just keeps coming. You know, it's like a Mexican boxer. If you know anything about boxing, you know, Mexican boxers, they go forward. They don't defend themselves. And I have defended myself against it. However, it's still coming forward. And it sucks. It's not fun. So anyway, that's not the reason why I'm so sad, though. If you watch the games, you know why I'm sad. You know why I'm irritated. It's funny because last night I started doing a little research, doing some digging, because I seem to remember as last night's game was starting, I had this weird feeling, and then I see Joe's not playing, and we'll talk about that in a second. Joe's not playing, and I start getting PTSD. You know, I'm hearing gunshots. I'm seeing things exploding in the background, and I'm like, why do I feel so poor? Why does my energy feel so bad right now hearing that Joe's not starting? I mean, I know why generally, you know, Joe doesn't play, and it's never good for us. But why do I feel this way, right? And I'm like, oh, after the game, I go back into the catalog of my podcast from last year. And I'm like, oh, I remember. Because my episode Chalk It, which was my most listened to Sixers episode, was after a Cavaliers game. And ironic enough, well, this is not ironic. You know, if you know me, you know I hate misusing irony. Coincidentally, the Cavs game last year preceded the Knicks game. This year, the Knicks game preceded the Cavs game. So you know, coincidental. Same outcome. We beat the Knicks, lose to the Cavs. Last year, lose to the Cavs, beat the Knicks. And last year, what happened was Joe started the game, hurt his shoulder, and disappeared into the rafters to never be seen again for that day. And then does not play against the Knicks. This year, he dominates the Knicks in another MVP performance. And then in an LVP performance, decides he's going to sit this game. I don't know if he decided or what, some sort of back tightness. I'll talk about Joe in a second. And it's just deja vu. It's deja vu. Because I'm watching our team, and it's like all of the things are coming back. Everything is coming back. I almost want to just talk about the next game first. How about that? Let's talk about the next game first. Get myself in a good mood because I don't want to start so low. Because who knows where I finish? If I start low, I finish in the abyss. So I start high, and then I can finish on the ground floor, maybe. We beat the Knicks. We should beat the Knicks. The Knicks are not good. All right, let's be clear. The Knicks are not good. Ben plays good defense. I know a lot of people are giving Ben complete credit for shutting down R.J. Barrett, but I thought, and I haven't rewatched the game, and I wanted to, but I didn't. I thought I remembered a couple people defending R.J. Barrett. I know the people who Ben did defend, according to the statistics that they showed last night on the Cavs game, finished, I think it was like 3 for 13 or something like that, which is eerily similar to Toby's numbers from the first game, but, you know, whatever, we won't go there yet. He played good defense, though. I just don't know if he completely is the reason why R.J. Barrett stunk, other than I just don't think R.J. Barrett is probably that good. I think he's okay, but, you know, we should temper our expectations for R.J. Barrett is all I'm saying. But the Knicks game I thought was interesting because Joe showed that MVP thing, right? MVP, like that MVP player, when they get to that point, they realize, okay, I am, you know, you pick your spots. You get your teammates involved, and then when your team needs a bucket, right? This is like the Chris Paul corollary. You get your teammates involved, and when your team needs a bucket, you step in and get one. And that's what Joe was doing against the Knicks, because I don't know if you guys remember, but the first half of the Knicks game was very tightly contested. You know what I mean? They had the lead at one point in the first half. And Joe essentially at that point would be like, okay, everyone, guys, relax. Give me the ball now. And then he absolutely dominated the first half, I thought. And then in the second half, he just didn't need to do much. Just kind of out there playing good defense, trying to, it seemed like at one point he made the effort to keep Mitchell Robinson off the offensive boards. Actually grabbed a few offensive rebounds himself, trying to kind of keep us ahead. And, at a certain point we take over in the fourth quarter. That's game, we go in the third quarter run. And I thought in my mind, I was like, see, this is MVP right here. This is how an MVP plays. You know what I mean? This is when you're an MVP, this is exactly how you're going to play. Just get us, keep us afloat. Keep us afloat. If you need to close. Otherwise, make sure that we don't lose the lead. Well, that's the end of the Knicks game, right? Not a whole lot to glean from the Knicks game, other than, again, still with, I don't like the rotations we're going out there with. You know what I mean? Especially because in the Knicks game, our bench seemed to, I don't want to say they took a step back necessarily, but they were not as effective as they were in the first game. You know what I mean? They were not as effective as they were against the Wizards. So against the Knicks, our bench kind of sort of struggled. I mean, we can't stop Alec Burks for whatever reason. Go figure. We can't stop Alec. We can't stop point guards. There's no guards in the NBA we can stop. There's not one of them. We can't stop any of them. But I thought Seth played well. Danny was shooting well. Toby played pretty good against the Knicks. I mean, listen, Toby was getting absolutely baked by Julius Randle. Now, to be fair, Julius is looking like he's playing himself into some sort of all-star consideration without question. But yesterday they blow out the Bucks. Then he finishes with, I think, a 27, 14, and 7 or something like that. I mean, he looks good. You know what I mean? He looks really, really good. Good for him. So, of course, he dominated Toby. It's no surprise. Toby played good defense for one possession in the preseason. He made me believe that he was now a good defender. And then that's the end of it. I haven't seen good defense from him since. And I don't want to hear the shit that Allah and that Zumov are talking about. Zoo and Allah, I don't want to hear it. He's not playing good defense. I don't want to hear it. So fast forward to the Cleveland game. Right before tip, Joe has tightness in the back. It's interesting, right? Because Seth hurts it seems like he probably gets a stinger. Not only does he it seems like he gets a stinger against the Knicks. Not only does he stay in the game, he plays yesterday against the Cavs. The Cavaliers, they played a double overtime game on Saturday against the Hornets. And in that game, Kevin Love hurt his calf. And then Kevin Love played last night. Now he hurt his calf again and had to sit the rest of the game. I think that was in the first quarter pretty much. But he said, I'm going to give it a go. Joe, some tightness in his back apparently. I'll talk about Joe in a second. Now let's talk about Joe right now. Joe, listen, if you're injured, you're injured. All right, let me be clear. Let me put out this disclaimer. If you're injured, you're injured. There's nothing you can do. I'm not here telling you to play through injury. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you need to really consider how injured are you though, right? I mean, you got tightness in your back. Does that mean that you're like, boop, a little tight? I didn't sleep great last night. Woke up, I'm not feeling the best. A little tight. Is that it? Or is it like I can't walk? Because I'm going to be honest, during pregame, you were laughing, smiling, shooting. You look fine during pregame. Now, obviously, it's pregame. It's not a game. So, I'm not comparing the two. One is one thing, the other is the other thing, right? One is practice and one is a basketball game. But you need to start considering this because, again, this goes back to I'm not demanding that of you. I wouldn't demand that of Ben or Toby. You want to know why? Because Ben or Toby haven't said that they want to be MVP, that they want to be Defensive Player of the Year, they want to be first team All NBA, they want to be first team All Defense. They're not saying those words. I haven't heard those words. I'm hearing those words from you, Joe. I'm hearing those words from you, and you are right now the king of putting your foot in your mouth, because after all the talk about the playoffs and going out against the Raptors last year was a fucking dud, and then we get swept out of the playoffs last year. And listen, I'm not going to revisit Game 4, but you know how I recorded my podcast and I came right for Joe because he deserved to become 4. He was sleepwalking through Game 4, elimination game. And Toby, who gained my love from that game because he was fighting his ass off, broke his face at one point, said, "No, I'm going to keep playing." So yeah, well, it's game 3. Of course, it's only the 3rd game of the season. It's a little bit less important. There are going to be times when you're seemingly really injured, and you're going to have to really miss games. I just need to know, and this is a rhetorical. Was last night a game that you had to miss? But it's important. You know why? You know why, Joe, MVP? You know why you're the MVP? Because you opened my fucking eyes again. Because you opened my motherfucking eyes. Because I had forgotten. God forbid me. I had forgotten. I'm a sucker. I'm a fucking sucker. I love to be street smart. I consider myself street smart. I consider myself someone who doesn't get fooled easily. And yet I've been fooled. The wool over my eyes. The thickest of wools. A sheep so magnificent, whose fleece has been garnered by the gods, has been placed in front of my eyes to convince me that Ben Simmons is a superstar basketball player. And that Toby is like an all-star almost. Because they're not. That's why you're the MVP, because you reminded me of something that I had long forgotten. You know why I forgot? I forgot because we went out in such a pathetic manner against the Celtics that it convinced me for a brief moment in time that Ben Simmons is as important as Joe. Because if we had Ben, you want to believe. But now I'm thinking if we had Ben, we would have still got swept. Maybe we lose in 5. Because that team had quit on Brett is really what happened. Now, as I'm really playing that back, the team quit on Brett. Our leader, Joel Embiid, our MVP, quit on Brett. You know what I mean? And that happens. Look, I'm not finna talk anything about it. That happens. And look, let me be clear real quick about something. I just want to say something real quick. If you paid attention to the NBA last night, the NBA is in a bit of an upheaval right now. And I might do another podcast breaking down the NBA over the last couple of days. But all the favorites lost yesterday. The Celtics lose to the Hornets. We obviously get blown out by the Knicks. Obviously, the Clippers, I don't even know what to say about the Clippers. And look, we can make all the fun of Paul George, but Paul George should stop talking. He should just stop talking at this point. But he's not that bad. I'm going to be honest with you. He's no way near that bad of a basketball player. Paul George is fantastic. All right, he is a top. Right now, it's probably a top 20 guy, but when he's going, he's a top 10 guy. It's easy. I'm gonna be clear. It's like a top 10, top 15 guy, maybe. Because I think the top 8 guy, it's hard to judge because when you see guys like Jamal Murray show up in the playoffs and go off, Jamal's not he's like a top 20 guy during the regular season, but then in the playoffs last year, it was like a top 5 guy almost. So how do you measure that? Like, how do you measure that? Right? I don't know, but Paul George is better than that. I mean, that was a very confusing game last night. The Knicks blew out the Bucks by 20. Just confusing results happening in the NBA right now. It's just confusing stuff. And we fell into this trap. Maybe it's just first Sunday, back-to-back, Christmas weekend. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't have any excuses because why it seems, I don't know. I'm not sure. So whatever. Give ourselves a little bit room of breathing room, I guess, even though we probably don't deserve it. Then you can't be a superstar player if you're going to go into Cleveland and be down 20 by halftime. In the second quarter, 6 minutes into the second quarter, you're down 20. You can't be a superstar. I'm sorry to tell you. Toby, you can't be an all-star. That Cavs team. Now, look, the Cavs have some guys I like. I like Darius Garland. All right. I like Colin Sexton. Okay. I like Chetty Osman off the bench. Okay. In their starting 5, they have 2 guys who may not be starters anymore. They may have a few guys. I don't know if Colin and Darius are starters. They're playing really well right now, but they're undersized guards. They're both undersized guards. You know what I mean? They're undersized point guards, essentially. How far can you get in the NBA with that, with undersized point guards? I don't know. So are they really starters in the NBA? Maybe. I don't know. Listen, the jury's still out on them. Let's say that. So we don't know if they're starters. Let's say on their best, because we got blown out, they are definitely starters in the NBA. Their starting small forward is Larry Nance Jr. He's not even a small forward. He's a small ball 5, regular basketball power forward. He's a power forward playing the 3. He's not even a tweener like Toby is. Toby is a tweener. He is not a tweener. He is a power forward, and he's playing the 3. He is not a starter in the NBA. Kevin Love, is Kevin Love a starter anymore in the NBA? I don't think he is a starter anymore in the NBA. I do not believe Kevin Love can start any longer. Okay? I don't believe it. Andre Drummond, he's a starter for sure. No question, he's a starter. Although we've long known that Andre Drummond's numbers, when Joe came, people were like, oh, shit, that's right. This is a good center. This is a center who gets a lot of numbers but never wins games. He just doesn't do anything. All these numbers do nothing for your winning. You know what I mean? A lot of cheap rebounds and bullshit rebounds and bullshit points, but not doing a whole lot. Even though he's the master of getting 3-4 steals and 3 or 4 blocks, but he's also not a good defensive center, right? If you know basketball, you know. I've talked about this. Assists don't mean that you are assists don't mean you're unselfish. Blocks don't mean you're playing defense, and neither do steals. Okay. Even the Covington deflection, which convinced people that Cove was a lockdown defender, and now people are you're hearing more and more people realize, well, Cove really isn't a lockdown defender. He's an okay defender. He's really a power forward defender is what he is, because he's super long, he's tall, kind of slow-footed. He's not slow-footed, but he can't guard threes. He's not a lockdown defender. He isn't. I'm sorry. And I had said that years ago when we traded for Josh. I remember having a conversation with someone where I said, yeah, Josh is in my opinion, is a more versatile defender because he can actually guard 1s, 2s, 3s. Could even guard some 4s in some matchups, depending on that. It really depends on that matchup. So while Cove can guard 4s and 5s and play passing lanes, Josh can play passing lanes, guard your 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? To me, he's a more versatile defender. Just a better defender. That's not the point. Josh, who's absolutely lighting it up, by the way, in the NBA right now. You know, wish we had him, but we traded him for Seth Curry. I like Seth though. I don't like. This is not to shit on Seth because I really do like Seth. I like how he's playing so far. He's not as good as Josh is though. So Ben, I'm getting off topic here. COVID is scrambling my brains. Ben, you can't be a superstar. I'm sorry to tell you. You're not a superstar basketball player. You know what I mean? How could you be? How can you be a basketball superstar player? Let me a superstar basketball player. I'm sorry. Look at his numbers real quick from last night. I don't remember them off the top of my head. Let's see. Ben, 15, 6, and 4. Yeah. How can you be a superstar basketball player? Last night, the Lakers, Anthony Davis didn't play for the Lakers last night. Now, look, the Lakers are a good team. They're deep. But Anthony Davis is their second best player. On certain nights, their best player. And AD didn't play last night. LeBron stamps the game early. They blow out the Timberwolves by 20. I think LeBron played 28 minutes. I think they both played the same amount of minutes. LeBron obviously had better numbers than Ben. No question about it. Toby had better numbers than Ben somehow. Toby, hey, good for Toby. Listen, let me give some credit to Toby real quick because Toby shooting seems to have – he didn't find his stroke. Let's be clear because we've seen Toby do this before. He gets hot and then he gets ice cold. But he's shooting well over the last 2 games. And it's the difference. The difference is this. It seems like Doc really hammering, please stop fucking dribbling the stupid fucking ball, Toby. Seems to have really hit him finally hit the key. He's catching and shooting. I mean, the catch and shoot is crazy. He's almost in the air when he catches the ball and he shoots it. You know what I mean? Last night, just on a couple transition baskets, catching, immediately shoot. So please keep doing that when Joe comes back. No reason why you can't do that when Joe comes back, okay? Still, but getting dominated on defense, getting played off the court on defense. I don't know what he's doing still. You know what I mean? As just different guys are getting off, different guys are teeing off. Toby scoring on him. Kevin Love scoring on him before he's injured. Then there's a couple plays where he's supposed to be guarding Nance, and Nance is drilling threes on us. Larry Nance, who's never shot a three-pointer in his motherfucking life, starts drilling threes, whatever. And then Dwight. It's like everything came to a head because again, back to the golden fleece that's been pulled over my eyes. Watching Dwight off the bench, you're like, man, Dwight's looking good right now. Dwight looks like he might be able to be a starter in the NBA the way he's playing over the first 2 games. Boop. Then you remember why Dwight. You remember Dwight? Oh, Dwight. I recognize you. I recognize you, Dwight. This is the Dwight who couldn't play in the finals. We forgot. I didn't forget. People forgot. People did forget. I didn't forget, but I thought Dwight was still looking good over the first 2 games. People forgot that, yeah, Dwight played well against the Nuggets, essentially just beating the shit. He looked like kidney punching Joker whenever he got a chance, doing all types of shit to make him uncomfortable. But against the Heat, he couldn't get on the court in the finals. This is that Dwight. Just stupid fouls. What did Dwight finish with yesterday? 9 points and 3 rebounds. He had a better game against the Knicks off the bench. Crazy, right? Started last night, but had a better game off the bench the night before. Dwight cannot start. So now we remember. Oh, boop. I remember now. Dwight can't start in the NBA. This is the Dwight I recognize. I remember this Dwight Howard. Seth did not shoot well last night. Again, he hurt his shoulder, so it's not really a surprise. I thought Seth played okay. I actually like Seth. I like Seth's energy. Tyrese is hitting a little bit of a rookie wall, I think. I finished with 6 points, 22 minutes, but he shot an airball three-pointer. It was not a good three-pointer. It was not great. He's struggling a tiny bit. I still like Tyrese, though. Don't worry about that. Shake is struggling, coming back. He's not coming back down to earth. He's plummeting. He's plummeted down to earth over the last 2 games. He did not really play great against the Knicks. What was the numbers against the Knicks? I have that over here. What did Shake finish with against the Knicks? Let's see here. Shake. 10 points. Yeah, 10 points against the Knicks. 6 points yesterday. He plummeted. He's plummeted down to earth like a comet. He's plummeting like the Armageddon comet. And we have to send Bruce Willis up there to sacrifice himself. Mike Scott played okay. Tony Bradley, I actually thought played okay, which is a surprise because in the preseason I thought Tony Bradley looked horrid. But yesterday I thought he played okay. You know, had a couple nice blocks. I thought he played okay. Furkan. Let me wait till I get to Furkan. Matisse played nothing. Matisse is nothing. Poor Matisse. No offense. He has no offense. No offense. No pun intended, right? No offense, Matisse. You have no offense. Terrence Ferguson played yesterday. Isaiah Joe hit a basket. Dakota Mathias lit it up. Had 8 points. Just flame throwing immediately. That's good for Dakota. I'm glad to see that. Anyway, I'm tired of Furkan. Furkan, 2 back-to-back stinkers. Did not really play well against the Knicks. If I don't remember correctly, hold on, let me pull that up. There you go. Okay, let's see. What did he finish with against the Knicks? Actually, nope, he had 3 points. Yeah, that's what I thought. 3 points against the Knicks. Yesterday, a fucking joke, 4 points. An improvement, I guess. I think he finished 1 for 7 shooting. And Furkan, for whatever reason, it's like Alec left. JJ was the original holder of the green light. He carried the green torch of the green light. Okay? He carried it and passed it off then to Alec Burke when we traded for Alec. Alec then grabbed that green torch and said, this is my green light. I will shoot all of the things. I will shoot forever. And then when Alec left, he handed it down. He said, Furkan, it's your turn to take stupid shots and shoot us out of games. And Furkan said, I will do that for you. And he took that green light, and he is trash. He's lit the trash on fire with the green light. Furkan, I am about fucking tired of. Listen, we know Furkan don't have hot games. I get it. No problem. Right now, I am about fucking sick of watching Furkan play basketball. My man shoots horrible. I've never seen someone worse at floaters try as many floaters as him. Every floater he shoots looks like he's never shot a floater before. He shoots like 2-handed floaters. It looks like he thinks he's playing volleyball for a second. And every time he shoots it, it clanks off of something. It's a floater, Furkan. How did you brick a floater? I've never seen a floater brick, but he's bricking floaters. It is physically, according to physics, the laws of physics that have been handed down by Albert Einstein and other geniuses and fucking Isaac Newton, the Sir Isaac. Sir Isaac said that everything must fall, essentially gravity. And then Tyrese and well, no, not even, but before Tyrese, guys like D'Angelo Russell and Steph and Kyrie, they showed that you could float a ball in such a way that it could defy those laws. But yet somehow Furkan has adopted the floater and has it's like, you know how Goku used to go train, and this is for my anime heads. Goku used to train in those rooms that have elevated gravity. He could get stronger, so he raised the gravity by 100 to get stronger. It's as if floater is shooting. It's like Furkan is shooting floaters in those rooms, the way the balls plummet into the rim. And I mean, they almost demolished the rim. They hurt the rim. You hear the rim every time the floater hits it. Furkan is abusing my eyes when I'm watching him right now. Just looks pathetic. I don't quite understand, Ben. I don't want to trade Ben for James. But last night reminded me why James is so special. Two things. James doesn't miss games. Let's be clear. He would have stayed overnight in New York last night. Let me be clear. Saturday night, he would have given 35 to the Knicks. Joe would have still dominated. And then he would have went to the strip club. And maybe Joe would have went with him. Hopefully not. And then he would have went to Cleveland the next morning, showed up. No sleep. A lot of players don't. Listen, basketball players don't sleep. That's nothing new. If you know anything about basketball players, they don't sleep. All right? Showed up, no sleep, smelling like cigarettes. And would have got into the, warmed up, got onto the court, would have looked at Dwight. He said, oh, something's different here. Who's missing? Dwight, you're starting today? Dwight would be like, yeah. And James would have been like, oh, what? You didn't start yesterday, right? And Dwight would be like, no, Joel started. And then James would be like, oh, shit, Joe, that's right. We have him on our team. What, Joe's not playing? And Dwight would be like, nah, he has a tight back. And James would be like, oh, okay. And James would have went, given the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are trying to guard him with the likes of Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Larry Nance. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? And James would have given them 45 and 15 assists and 9 rebounds. And we would have walked out of Cleveland with a win. We'd be 3-0 right now. I get it. I'm not as the wool, while immense, while it's been pulled from my eyes, I'm not quite there where I'm saying I'm willing to trade Ben for James. Because again, just because James had 44 and 17 against the Trailblazers doesn't mean I forgot that James has lit that franchise on fire. And that James, essentially every year, it's a new thing with him. Every year, it's a new thing with him. You know what I mean? I haven't forgotten that. But I did remember that Ben can't carry a team. He can't. Our record now, and I don't have the numbers, but I remember last year our record, we have a losing record when Joe doesn't play, and that makes sense. Joe is excellent. Anytime you have one of your main guys injured, you're going to have a losing record, except that the Bucks last year, when Giannis missed games, they won. They won games. Chris Middleton is better than Ben, obviously. Does more. And now we're back into that weird thing now where we're going to now be hearing Brandon Ingram is better than Ben Simmons. They'll forever be inextricably connected. Ben, Brandon, and Jalen. They'll always be connected. Because it's going to be like, who's better? Jalen is a cross between the two. He's a cross between B.I. and a cross between Ben. Great defender, very good scorer. And then there's Ben, great defender, no offensive ability, as he's just barreling into Shetty Osman, getting offensive fouls called on him because he has no semblance of offensive talent that allows him to do anything that makes any fucking sense on a basketball court sometimes. And then B.I. over there doesn't play defense anymore, but is putting up 30. Giving people 30, just handing out 30s. You know what I mean? Here's a 30 for you. He's like Oprah of 30 points. And Ben just doesn't have it. I'm reminded now. Ben don't have it. You can build whatever team you want around Ben. It will never be that good. I'm reminded. You can build whatever team, put all the shooters around Ben. Unless those shooters are Klay Thompson and maybe Chris Middleton, you need elite shooters. Not only do you need elite shooters, or like Steph, not only do you need elite shooters, you need guys who can break down the defense around Ben. So maybe you can put Ben with James Harden. Maybe you can put Ben with Steph, Ben with Kyrie. He'd probably be great in those situations. But thinking that you're going to just put Ben and surround him with 4 shooters, nah, it's not going to work. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to work. Because that's what last night was, other than Dwight Howard, and we've seen him do well. We've seen him do well with Al Horford last year when Al wasn't, and the year before when Al wasn't really shooting. The year before, we've seen Ben do well with centers who don't stretch the floor, but we lose the game. Now, Ben has also been more aggressive in those games offensively. Ben is driving to the rim right now on Andre Drummond, who is prone to foul people and is just avoiding contact. I mean, doing all these weird flip shots and contorting his body, and he thinks he's Kyrie, but he's not. Bitch, go into them and try to dunk. And get a fucking foul. Get a foul and get to the line. How could you, listen, the Cavaliers, this is wrong. They're not 4-0. They're 3-0. Why does it say this? We're 2-1. Whatever, it's not important. The Cavaliers, they're 3-0. Okay. They're not that good, man. Ben, none of those dudes can check you. There's no one there that can check you. There shouldn't be. Come on. You're a superstar? You can't be. You can't be a superstar. You can't be a superstar. Toby, you're not a fucking all-star. Are you kidding me, Toby? And then at the end of the game, listen, I get it. We as fans take a lot of this way too serious. I'm doing this power. Who the fuck am I? Taking it too serious. That's who I am. I'm the guy taking this shit too seriously. But I'm reminded because earlier in the day I watched the J.J. Watt interview. You might have seen this after they lost, after the Texans lost again. And J.J. Watt is going off, talking about if you can't get yourself up for games, even when you're trash, even when you're foreign, whatever, because the fans are out here. The fans give a fuck. The fans are coming. They're paying money to see you. They're invested. They give a shit. They need something from their everyday lives to distract them from the impending motherfucking doom that we're dealing with, whether it's the fucking president, whether it's this motherfucking pandemic, whether it's lonely Christmases, lonely holidays in this fucking year. They need a distraction. So when I'm sitting here and I'm watching the Sixers play basketball, and I'm looking on the bench, and I see Ben and Shake and Danny laughing about things. What the fuck is so funny? Oh, I know what's funny. The joke's on us. Oh, shit. I got you laughing because y'all motherfuckers put the joke on us. Because you convinced me to look dumb out here saying we shouldn't trade you for James Harden. Looking like a fucking idiot. If you're watching last night's game, in what way could I stand by that? The Rockets, I promise you, the Rockets said, speed dial, Daryl. Hey, D-Moore. I don't know if that's what they call him. Hey, D-Moore. How you doing? And D-Moore is like, yeah, peace for China. And he was right to say that, by the way, but whatever. Peace for China. And they're like, so, you rethinking that Ben for James Harden deal? Daryl say, well, what are you thinking? And they're going to be like, I'm going to be honest. You're going to have to give us Ben picks, maybe even Toby. Because after I just watched Ben, Daryl. I watched Ben just play the Cavaliers. Did you watch that game, Daryl? Daryl's like, I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. Good try, Daryl. You watched the whole game. Ben looks like trash. And you think that we're going to trade James for Ben straight up? Well, James is being a jerk to you guys, and we don't give a fuck if he's being a jerk. Did you just see what he did to the Trailblazers? Overtime game? He just put up 44 and 17 assists. Guys, he had 17 assists and 44 points. Did you see that, Daryl? Daryl, I missed that game. You missed that game, Daryl? Come on. You missed it? You missed it? Right. Miss me. How about that? Miss me with this bullshit. You think you'll give me Ben for James straight up? You can ask a D. You're going to have to give me more for that. Boop. Hang the phone up. Daryl goes back. Hey, Doc, what's up with Ben? Doc's gonna say, I don't know what's up with Ben. With his hoarse voice, I don't know what's up with Ben. It's not a good impersonation. I don't know what's up with Ben. Honestly, Daryl, did Ben know that this was a regular season game? Doc, yeah, they all knew it was a regular season game. Daryl, okay, hang up. End scene. Scene end. There's no way you could trade Ben for James Harden straight up. It's just no possible way. Not after last night's game. Not only did James put up 44 and 17, but he had one of his most efficient games that I've seen in a while, honestly. I think he finished 14 of 24 and 14 of 16 from the free throw line. I think he was 6 for 13 from 3. Wild efficient. Wild efficient. Just a basketball savant. You know, that's all James Harden is. Just a basketball savant, honestly. Strip club savant, basketball savant. Ben doesn't even pass the ball in any way that makes me happy anymore. Remember when we first got Ben? Ben was doing all the things LaMelo Ball does now, right? Where it's like, wow, what a pass. This is incredible watching him pass. He's not even doing shit like that anymore. He don't even make passes that I'm like, oh, wow, what a pass. You know, now it's just be a basic. It's not even entertaining to watch him right now. To watch him fail as he drives into the lane, as he careens off of somebody and gets an offensive foul. I mean, Toby's never been fun to watch. I mean, that motherfucker, bro. Oh, my God, yo. I don't know what you could do with Toby, honestly. Again, like I said, if you're trading Toby, you're trading him for backups. You know, you're trading him for backups. You're saying, hey, Kings, we'll take Nemanja. Maybe they'd move Harrison Barnes because Harrison doesn't do a whole lot for them right now. But you're not trading Toby for anything of consequence. You know what I mean? I promise you're not trading him for anything of consequence. I mean, why would you? Who would dare trade for Tobias Harris in that contract? Who would dare? Who would dare? We're getting the firsthand experience as to why Toby doesn't stay with the team. We're getting that firsthand experience because you see from a distance, you're like, man, this dude scores 20 a game, good three-point shooter. Why? You know, why are people always giving up on him? Oh, shit. I see it. I see why people give up on him. I give up on him. I give up. You've beat me into submission, Toby. I have submitted. You've beaten me. Ben, I give up. You don't go against the Cavaliers and get blown out by 20 in the second quarter. You just don't. It's just not how the NBA works. Just exhausted. I'm exhausted. I never thought I'd feel this way again. You know what I mean? And Doc is now getting firsthand, oh, shit, man. Wow. This is the job I took. This is the job I took. Listen, Brett is no angel. We know. And Joe, I mean, imagine how Joe feels. You know, imagine Joe's watching this and is thinking to himself, man, what the fuck are you doing out here? Are you not an all-star? Do you think, don't you want to be a superstar? Who are you? Who are you? At least Joe was sitting at the sideline this time. Usually he'd be disappeared somewhere. I don't know who's going to like grab this team by the fucking throat. When I'm watching guys laughing and smiling, they think it's funny. They think it's funny to go out there and get blown out in Cleveland. Cleveland's been trash. Every time LeBron leaves, it's a dumpster fire there. And we're going to get blown out by them. We couldn't stop them last year. We can't stop them this year. And we're a fucking joke, honestly. We're a joke. We play, who do we play now? I think we play the Raptors next. The Raptors are struggling. The Raptors are going to look to come for a win. Then we played the Magic. The Magic are playing well. You could look at this game and convince yourself we could lose all 5 of these games right here. I promise you that. We won't, but you could convince yourself just because you don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know, I'm exhausted. COVID's got me tired and sick. That game last night took. Oh, let's talk about the Eagles real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time about the Eagles. I just want to talk Philly sports. This is a Philly weekend. That's what it was. I'm in on Jalen Hurts. I'm going to be real with you. I'm in on Jalen. You're not going to convince me that Jalen is bad. I'm watching people shit on Jalen. It's his third start in the NFL. Carson's rookie year wasn't great. I'm going to be honest with you. We saw these flashes from Carson that were like, oh, this dude could be legit, right? He's making all these crazy throws. You're seeing these flashes that are telling you he could be great. Turnover prone like shit, but it's fine. He could be good. Same thing here. The first 2 games, Jalen looked incredible. Last game especially, going against Kyler, I mean, he looked incredible with none of the weapons. Let's not forget. People, it's like funny. It's funny watching people who are like staunch Carson Wentz fans come in and try to shit on Kyler by removing the excuses that were part of Carson's defense. Wait, did the offensive line get better for I mean, shit on I'm sorry, Kyler. Shit on Jalen without any of the defenses that Carson had. So did the offensive line get better for Jalen? No. Did the receivers get better for Jalen? No. Did the defense get better for Jalen? Not really. I mean, they're playing a little bit more inspired, but did they get better? No. Did our offense score more points those first two games than they scored all season? Yeah. We didn't score a lot yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not one who is critical of Doug Peterson. You know what I mean? Do I think Doug is the best coach in the NFL? No, I don't think Doug's the best coach in the NFL. Do I think Doug is a good coach? Yeah. When I watch people shit on Doug for being aggressive, I just tell them hold fast. Because let's remember that Doug's aggressiveness won us a Super Bowl. That's how you win us. We won a Super Bowl because Doug was aggressive. Because Doug was aggressive at that time. You know what I mean? His aggressiveness, sometimes you lose on it, sometimes you win on it, for sure. And last night was a time where we actually lost because Doug wasn't aggressive for some reason. Doug let Jalen go. Let him rip. After we scored the first two touchdowns, for whatever reason, we go 3 and out, I think, the next two possessions, if I remember correctly. And Jalen, I can't remember. There's a lot of fog because of the trash Sixers. And those two possessions were possessions that Jalen, it's way too just conservative. What is this conservative ass play? Like 3rd and 6, we run the option. And I don't mind the option, except that everyone knows the option is now coming because it's a super productive play for Jalen. How about this? Why don't you let Jalen drop back for a second? If he sees the pass, make it. If not, go. Let Jalen design his own runs off of pass plays. Jalen, one thing I can appreciate about Jalen, this is the problem with Carson. Carson's indecisiveness is what killed him this year. And listen, Carson had the MVP year, no question about it. We're not going to forget that. He tore his ACL. He hasn't been the same since. Let's not forget that either. I think people, especially in the NFL and the NBA too, if you're watching basketball, you're watching NFL, you're seeing guys come back from ACL injuries and they're no longer hampered by them, and you're getting too accustomed to thinking that that's the norm, when for a very long time, ACL injuries meant that guys would come back 75% of themselves. You know what I mean? And when you're a quarterback, it's especially bad because when you come back as a quarterback, the whole reason why they created the play, the defenseless receiver play, the defenseless quarterback play, all of that, was because quarterbacks you're sitting in the pocket, you're looking down the field, and yeah, you're going to get sacked, but if you're getting blindsided constantly, now your quarterback is wrong. You're ruining the psyche of someone. So when a quarterback tears his ACL, he's constantly worried in the pocket of someone hitting him in the legs. And when you got a trash offensive line, it's only going to make them gun shy. It's going to make them whatever. Well, that's what happened with Carson. I don't see quarterbacks bounce back from situations like that. I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen a quarterback look as bad as Carson looked this year and seen him bounce back. Let's look at Cam Newton. He ain't been the same. He went to the Super Bowl. After that was not the same, and he's been going down since. Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. Ever since then, he hasn't been good. Now, this year he's been a little bit better, but no one's going to say he's good. You know what I mean? RG3, remember, should have been Rookie of the Year, arguably. I mean, Andrew Luck played, was he Rookie of the Year? I can't remember right now. Andrew Luck played great, but had a ton of interceptions. RG3 played great, tears his ACL, was never the same since. That happens. Guys get their ACLs torn, they really don't come back the same sometimes. That's what looks like's happened with Carson, unfortunately. Carson looked really, really bad this year, unfortunately. The other problem is there's been a million reports of Carson, of Doug being tired of Carson changing the play at the line of scrimmage, right? Listen, I believe it. You want to know why? Because in the beginning, one of my favorite things about Carson was that he would read the defense, change the play, and then would get a positive play out of it. Well, what happens when you don't have talent on your team? Well, you're going to have to game plan to win. We don't have good receivers. We don't have a good offensive line. And now Carson wants to change the play, and he's getting sacked, he's throwing turnovers, fumbling the ball. Carson didn't play well. Sorry to say that. I've never seen a quarterback bounce back. I think it's over for Carson, arguably. Probably his best bet is to go back with Frank Reich. So you have a whole litany of shit. ACL tear, Frank Reich leaves. We don't know which one is actually the reason behind it. We don't know what it is. The psyche, the damage it does to a psyche to do too much when he watches his team win a Super Bowl while he's sitting on the sideline hurt. There's a million things that go in play here. We don't know which one it is, but it's probably all of them put in one thing. And I don't think Carson bounces back from that. I think Jalen has what it takes. I think you got to build a team around the kid. You spend a second-round draft pick on him. Listen, you don't draft someone in the second round so that he can just be a throwaway. You don't. I'm sorry. You don't draft quarterbacks in the second round for him to be throwaways. You don't. Jalen looks like he's good. He looks really, really good. I think at times last night, we were way too conservative on offense. I think we should let him rip a little bit. At the end of the game, he throws that interception, doing too much. No question. That wasn't a good throw. The fumble, that fumble should have been overturned. Let's be clear. That fumble, I don't know what the refs are calling, but I don't know what the refs are doing. NFL refs are abysmal. I mean, they just are. NBA refs are much better. NFL refs are abysmal. That should have been overturned. That's not a fumble. You can't prove that the ball is coming loose when his first knee goes down. There's no proof of that. On one hand, it's smart to call it a fumble because if you err on that side, you're able to go and review it. Whereas if you say it's not a fumble, if you automatically call it a fumble, you can't go back and review if it's a fumble. So it's good to err on the side of saying it's a fumble so that you can go back and review it and get it right. Except in this case, you got it wrong again, and it's a pivotal situation right there. Jalen didn't play great yesterday. I thought on those two scoring drives, he looked fucking excellent. He looked measured. We game planned, put together a great game plan, ran all over them, made good throws, timely throws. The bomb to Deshaun was a hell of a pass. I thought he looked great. Honestly, I thought he looked really, really well. I thought he looked really good last night until the second half. Our game plan started changing. Somehow we get outcoached by Mike McCarthy. I mean, that's problematic at best. And the worst thing that happened, honestly, was Fletcher gets injured. Once Fletcher gets injured, our defense falls apart. That's the difference of the game. Once Fletcher gets injured, they start driving on us like it's nothing. You know what I mean? That, to me, is the difference of the game. So that's what it is. That's all I'm going to say. It's a disappointing year. I didn't want to win last night. Who wants to win and go into the playoffs? We're 4-9-1. I mean, 4-9-1. You want to go into the playoffs with a 6-9-1 team? Fuck no. Who wants to watch that? Someone has to go into the playoffs from our team. None of them deserve to go into the playoffs from the East. No one in the NFC East deserves to be in the playoffs. They should, for 1 year, make the exception and put a different team in. Put the fucking Bears in or some dumb shit. No one really wants to watch the Bears either, but whatever. They're better than us. Better than everyone else in the NFC East. Put the Bears in or fucking I don't even know. Everyone in the NFC kind of sucks. Everyone's pretty trash. Well, I don't know. Whatever. We don't deserve to be there, though. I promise you that. No one here in the NFC East does. So whatever. That Philly sports, what a shitty weekend for Philly sports, right? It's terrible. Started good on Saturday. Sunday, you go in high hopes. And then dashed, crushed as you're watching us lose. And then the news after, Joel's out. And then the news after, Sixers suck. Ben isn't good. God damn. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got to say, everyone. Everyone wash your hands. Yo, COVID sucks, man. You know what I mean? I can't say it enough. This just sucks. Wake up today sick for whatever reason. You don't even know on given days what's happening. Wash your hands. I don't even know what this podcast is going to sound like. I hope it's good. Wash your hands, everyone. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Black Lives Matter. Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Sick of watching Ben Simmons. Maybe we should trade for James. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm almost. I promise you, I'm almost there. Everyone stay safe.
Yo. Yeah. Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come